Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to the session. This is a quant session on CAT 2023 preparations, and today we'll be discussing the topic direct and inverse variations. Very small and simple topic, and it's like a subtopic of the ratio part. Previous week I had taken 3 sessions on ratio, so if you have missed the previous sessions, do watch it on the videos list of the channel. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe to the Unacademy CAT-alyst channel, and every day you can get lots of new content related to your CAT preparation strategy and planning, questions, practice, concepts and whatnot. Okay. Good afternoon, Suchanda. Welcome to the session. So all right, let's begin. Do like the session, all of you who are joining live, and do subscribe to the Unacademy CAT-alyst channel. Let us start. This is just a brief background of mine, and not long back I was at your place preparing. So the things that I went through and it helped me, I try and share the same things in my sessions so that you can benefit in the same way that I did. And this is a offer 25% off you are getting on 12 months and above ka plus and iconic subscription pay. So do use my code if you have plans of taking a subscription, and you can get a 25% discount. 12 से लेके 18th जनवरी तक ये ऑफर वैलिड है. And very happy to share these results with you, Unacademy CAT 2022 toppers. So very good results this time. This is a scholarship test announcement. Yesterday there was a test, January 15th ko. Next scholarship test is on 29th. So you can participate in the scholarship test, and based on your ranks you can get scholarships, and accordingly discounts तुम्हें मिल सकता है. Now this is a batch on arithmetic that I have currently started on the Unacademy platform. You can join me for my special and plus classes. You will get all the links in the description of the video. So you can join me for my special classes जो कि free होते हैं, and then plus classes you can take a subscription and join. So this is a plus course. Now we have 39 sessions in this course plus 3 quizzes and more than 1500 plus questions I am going to discuss in this course. Okay, so 4 days a week we will have sessions on this. So it will be a complete coverage of the arithmetic portion, and you don't need to solve anything beyond that. Okay, everything that is needed to solve any kind of question, any concept, and everything related to the arithmetic, every chapter will be covering in detail along with previous year questions and practice sessions in this course. So if you are taking a subscription and if you want to start arithmetic from the beginning, you can join this course. Visit my profile on the Unacademy platform and you can get the links. Chalo, let us begin. Welcome once again all of you. Good afternoon. So the first thing is direct variation. What do you mean by this direct variation? Now the word variation means it's not constant. Okay, two things will compare and we'll try and see how do they vary with each other. Okay, direct variation का मतलब ये है, suppose I have two entities A and B. I'll compare the changes in B with respect to the changes in A. Comparing changes in B with respect to A. तो तुम A में चेंज करते हो तो B का चेंज कैसा होता है, किस डायरेक्शन में होता है. That is the meaning of variation, like comparing two things. Basically all these are comparison tools. Ratio भी it's a comparing tool. Direct inverse variation भी दो चीजों का compare ही होता है. So you would have seen a lot of times ऐसे लिखा जाता है A is directly proportional to B. We call these are directly proportional. What do you mean by this directly proportional? It basically means both of them move in the same direction. Move in the same direction का मतलब है if A increases, B will also increase, and if A decreases, B will also decrease. मतलब वही है, they move in the same direction. If A increases, that implies B will increase, and if A decreases, this implies B will also decrease. Simple meaning of direct variation. Suppose for an example I can say salary and your expenses. If your salary goes up, so you will automatically spend more, and if your salary comes down, you will spend less. Let us say I'll say distance and the fuel used. You are traveling in a car, you travel more distance, you use more fuel. You travel less distance, you use less fuel. Okay, keeping other parameters out of the question, just दो parameters simple अगर compare करेंगे, ठीक है. Suppose I'll keep the speed as constant, to make constant speed में move करो. If you have more distance to travel, you will take more time. If you have less distance to travel, you will take less time. So it's a comparison tool where both of them move in the same direction. If you are increasing one thing, the other thing also goes up. And simple terms में we can write it as A is equal to K into B, where K is called as the proportionality constant. Proportionality constant. So I can write A by B is equal to constant in that case. This implies, this is another way of looking at it, A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2. I can write this also. The normal result of direct variation, A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2. Now if I try and plot it in a graph, it will basically give me a straight line. अगर A and B का growth या decline, if I plot it in a graph, it basically gives me a straight line. That indicates that slope इसका positive है. No need to understand ये slope वगैरह क्या है. जब अलजेब्रा में आएगा I'll properly explain what's the meaning of slope. But it definitely यहाँ पे slope का context is B increases when there is an increase in A, B decreases when there is a decrease in B, so it has a positive slope. And the graph looks like this. This is all about direct variation. Very simple concept. Okay. Hope all of you are able to make sense of this. Feel free to ask questions and let me know in the chat section. Yes or no बताओ, समझ आ रहा है नहीं direct variation? बहुत ही simple सा छोटा सा concept है ये. Nothing critical about this. Then similarly next we have inverse variation. Inverse variation, we write it in this way: A is proportional to 1 by B. So it means A is inversely proportional to B. So this means if A increases, then B will decrease. Opposite direction में move करेंगे. Or if A decreases, then B will increase. This is how the changes are going to happen in case of inverse variation. एक entity increase हो रहा है तो दूसरा will decrease and vice versa. Whereas in direct variation, both of them either increased together or decreased together. But here, if one of them increases, the other has to decrease and vice versa. So that is why it is called as inverse variation. Again, you can use proportionality constant and write it as K into 1 by B, where K is called as the proportionality constant. Or you can also write it as A into B is equal to constant. यहाँ पे A by B was constant. Here A into B is constant. So this gives you another result that I can write here, that A1 by A2 is B2 by B1. उल्टा हो जाएगा. Had it been direct variation, तो A1 by A2 is B1 by B2, but inverse variation है, इसीलिए A1 by A2 is B2 by B1. कैसे मिल रहा है? तुम यहाँ पे देख सकते हो that A into B is constant. So I can write A1 B1 is equal to A2 B2. Now just rearrange the terms and you'll get this. A1 by A2 is B2 by B1. Whereas in direct variation it is A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2. सीधा सीधा रहता है. Inverse में just उसका reciprocal हो जाता है. Now inverse variation, if I try and plot it in a graph, so the graph is something like this. It's a curve, it's not a straight line. Okay, if A is inversely proportional to B, then it's a curve, it's not a straight line. Product is constant. ठीक है, तो ये ऐसा एक curve type का है in case of inverse variation. So why am I drawing these graphs? Exam में they will not ask you to draw the graphs, but sometimes graph based question जब आएगा, if I have this sense that okay inverse variation तो इस टाइप का एक कर्व आएगा, तो कभी कर्व दिखेगा तो मुझे पता लगेगा कि ओके तो वेरिएबल्स इन्वॉल्व्ड हियर आर इनवर्सली रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर. मे बी वो डायरेक्टली क्वेश्चन में यूज नहीं होगा, बट दैट इन्फरेंस डज मैटर. So everything comes into play whenever you are solving a question. You never know what kind of questions will be asked. So जितना fundamental clarity तुम रख सकते हो उतना बेटर है. Okay, sometimes people they don't like graphs. They think that it's very mathematical and something difficult about it just because graphs are involved. Nothing like that. Graphs gives you a visual like clarification of the concept that you have just written. जो यहाँ पे हमने लिखा वो ग्राफ से भी हम कंक्लूड कर सकते हैं. So it's like just a visual like representation of what the concept we are studying. So algebra में predominantly graphs will be there. Here the significance is not the graphs but the property that if one changes, how does the other change? There are two parameters. If you change one, in which direction is the other entity changing, and based on that, direct inverse variation. All right. Hope this makes sense to all of you. Let us see a few questions, simple questions. For example, look at question number 1. The volume of a cube directly varies with the cube of its side. So I can write volume, let us say V, is directly proportional to the side cube. So I can write V is equal to K into side मान लो S है तो S cube. Now there are 3 cubes of side 6 cm, 8 cm and 10 cm. तो पहला क्यूब का वॉल्यूम कितना होगा? K into 6 का क्यूब, तो 216 K. Second cube volume is K into 8 cube, so 512 K. And third cube का volume is K into 10 cube, so which is like 1000 K. Now if you add this V1 plus V2 plus V3, I'll get 1728 K. Now I am melting all these cubes to form a bigger cube. यहाँ पे ये bigger cube का volume V is V1 plus V2 plus V3, which is like 1728 K. So I can write V is K into this 1728 is nothing but 12 cube. 12 ka cube. That means once you melt all these 3 cubes, you will get a bigger cube whose side is 3. Sorry, side is 12, 3 बोल रहा हूँ. 12 cube आया तो जो bigger cube आता है after melting all these 3 cubes, उसका side is 12. Very simple question. Just once you get this result, V is equal to K into S cube, then एकदम simple सा question. Hope it makes sense. Just you need to be familiar with the cubes. Okay, वो cubes 1 से लेके 20 का cubes you should be familiar with for convenience of calculation. इनका cubes, if you remember, it will help you calculate much faster. Makes sense? This is a very easy question. I hope all of you understood this. V is proportional to side cube, so I just introduced the proportionality constant, and then 3 cube दिया है, तीनों का volume दिया है. So you add all these 3, you get a bigger cube whose volume is 1728 K. Again, it's proportional to the side cube, so 1728 is 12 का cube, so side 12 आ गया वहाँ पे. Let us come to this one. The heat radiated by a certain body per unit time varies directly with the square root of the excess of the temperature of the body over the ambient temperature. ठीक है. So basically the heat radiated by the body is 1 second is 12 joules when the temperature of the body is 34 degrees centigrade. Find the temperature of the body when the heat radiated is 20 joules. तो यहाँ पे ambient temperature दे दिया. तो थोड़ा ज़्यादा technical लग रहा होगा पढ़ने में, but nothing. Let's put it in a simple way that you radiate heat when the temperature is more than the ambient temperature. तो ambient temperature 25 है, तो जब बॉडी का टेम्परेचर 25 के ऊपर जाएगा तब वो हीट रेडिएट होगा. तो लेट्स से हीट रेडिएटेड इज H. दिस इज प्रोपोर्शनल टू व्हाट? ना एम्बिएंट टेम्परेचर से कितना एक्सेस है बॉडी टेम्परेचर. ओके, तो लेट अस से बॉडी टेम्परेचर इज T, तो T minus 25 से डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ द एक्सेस ऑफ द टेम्परेचर, तो इसका स्क्वायर रूट. तो जस्ट यू हैव टू रीड इट केयरफुली. हीट इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द स्क्वायर रूट. पहले ये स्क्वायर रूट मैंने कर लिया. किसका स्क्वायर रूट? ना एम्बिएंट टेम्परेचर से कितना एक्सेस है बॉडी टेम्परेचर. तो लेट अस से बॉडी टेम्परेचर इज T एंड 25 तो एम्बिएंट टेम्परेचर है. तो आई कैन राइट द इक्वेशन H इज इक्वल टू K होल इनटू T minus 25. वंस यू गेट दिस, फिर हो गया क्वेश्चन सॉल्व. पहला इंफॉर्मेशन क्या दिया है ना, हीट रेडिएटेड is 12 joules, तो H is equal to 12, तो यहाँ पे K when the body temperature is 34. So 34 minus 25. So this gives me K is like 12 by square root of 9. So 12 by 3 I get K as 4. So you put K as 4 in this equation. Find the temperature of the body when the heat radiated is 20. तो अगर H 20 है and K आ गया 4, तो बॉडी टेम्परेचर कितना होगा? तो ये आ जाता है 5 is equal to square root of T minus 25. So T I get it as 50 degrees. Squaring both sides. तो ये स्क्वायर हो गया, 5 becomes 25 and ये 25 ऐड हो जाएगा, तो I get T as 50 degrees. Very simple. Just first part of the sentence is important. You'll have to read it very systematically. बहुत टाइम ना लोगों का क्वांट्स डिफिकल्ट इसीलिए नहीं होता क्योंकि क्वेश्चन डिफिकल्ट है, बट देन वी नीड टू डेवलप दिस आर्ट ऑफ रीडिंग द क्वेश्चन एंड स्ट्रक्चरिंग इट प्रॉपर्ली, तब सिंपल हो जाता है. वंस यू नो दिस इक्वेशन then there is nothing difficult about it. Hope this makes sense now. Heat radiated H is directly proportional to the square root. तो पहले H directly proportional to square root कर लिया. Now square root of what? Now excess of the temperature of the body over the ambient temperature. That means basically body temperature minus ambient temperature. उसका square root. Then just go with the question. All right. Then let's take a look at this one. Time and work. The time taken by a group of workers to complete a piece of work varies directly. So time T varies directly with the amount of work. So T, let's say W is the amount of work. तो जितना ज्यादा काम उतना ज्यादा टाइम लेगा. If the number of workers, तो workforce is constant. This is perfectly logical. अगर number of people working is same, ज्यादा काम है तो ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा, वही बोल रहा है. And the time varies inversely to the number of people if the work is constant. अगर काम कांस्टेंट है, if you increase the number of men, time will come down. ज्यादा लोग हैं जल्दी काम खत्म करेंगे. Decrease the number of men, कम लोग हैं तो they will take more time. So this is what is given. Now how do I combine these two results? So I can say T is proportional to W by WF, where this is like workforce, number of men. WF का मतलब वर्कफोर्स एंड W का मतलब है वर्क. तो जस्ट मल्टीप्लाई कर लो वर्क एंड वर्कफोर्स. तो T इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू W एंड इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू वर्कफोर्स. ऐसा करते हैं. मल्टीप्लाई का मतलब नहीं T स्क्वायर कर लेना है, मतलब दो पैरामीटर्स के साथ जो उसका चेंज हो रहा है वो दोनों को मल्टीप्लाई कर. इट्स नॉट लाइक अ डायरेक्ट प्रोडक्ट. So I'll write T is K into W by WF. और तुम यहां से ऐसे लिख सकते हो K is equal to T into workforce divided by W. This is constant. Now let us see क्या दिया है. If 8 workers take half a day, time is half a day, number of workers is 8 and काम है to plow 2 acres of land. So this is equal to K. Then find the time taken. तो T पूछ रहा है by 16 workers to plow 8 acres of land. बस यहाँ से अभी T सॉल्व करके निकालना है. Just one simple equation. Both of them are equal to K. T, WF and W. तो पहले T is half a day, 8 workers, 2 acres of land. कितना टाइम? 16 workers, 8 acres of land. बस उतना सॉल्व करना है. तो ये 4, 4. तो T I get it as 1 day. All right. So this is how things work in direct and inverse variation. I have taken moderate level questions. I didn't take very easy questions, but necessary नहीं है सब हमेशा क्वेश्चन इसी टाइप का रहेगा. If you are learning this chapter for the first time या initially start करो, any source you are following, start with the basic questions जो इससे थोड़ा easy. I am not saying these are very difficult questions. जैसे पहला क्वेश्चन तो एकदम सा easy क्वेश्चन था. Second was a little bit challenging in terms of reading the question. एंड थर्ड में एक नया कॉन्सेप्ट आया व्हेन एक ही पैरामीटर को मैं दो अलग अलग पैरामीटर्स के साथ कंपेयर कर रहा हूँ. T कंपेयर टू W एंड T कंपेयर टू WF, एक के साथ डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल, एक के साथ इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल. हाउ डू डील इन दैट केस? So you just multiply this W and WF and then create an equation like this. And then just substitute the values as given in the question. So very handy this chapter, direct inverse variation, very handy. एंड इसका कॉन्सेप्ट अलग अलग एरियाज में यूज होगा। जैसे देखो ये चैप्टर तो है डायरेक्ट इन्वर्स वेरिएशन, बट तो आ तो गया यहाँ पे टाइम एंड वर्क। ओके, सो इट्स लाइक अ फंडामेंटल कॉन्सेप्ट बिकॉज मैथमेटिकल प्रिंसिपल्स आर यूज्ड हियर। तो ये और कोई चैप्टर में भी यूज हो सकता है, कीप दैट इन माइंड ऑल द टाइम। So I have one more question. Do write the answer of this question. ये रहा तुम्हारा homework. तो solve करना and let me know the answer to this question in the comment section of the video. ठीक है, nothing difficult. Again, just read it systematically and let me know the answer of this question in the comment section of the video. All right. तो ये दो बैच अनाउंसमेंट है, ये एक 0 to Zenith बैच एंड देन ये परफेक्ट स्कोर बैच आज से स्टार्ट हो रहा है फॉर रिपीटर्स। तो कैट 2022 देके और एक बार इफ यू आर टेकिंग द कैट एग्जाम यू कैन ज्वाइन दिस बैच। डोंट फॉरगेट अभी ऑफर चल रहा है, सो यू कैन गेट अ 25% डिस्काउंट। एंड GDPI बैच फॉर 2022 पीपल रिसेंटली स्टार्ट हुआ है, सो इफ यू हैव गॉट कॉल्स स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द GDPI बाय ज्वाइनिंग दिस बैच। So these are the plus and iconic subscription plans. Depending on requirement, you can decide subscription plus का लेना है या iconic का लेना है. And don't forget to use the code. Okay. This is Unacademy test series का launch. Special launch price अभी 999 है and these features you are going to get: mock test, sectional test, 25,000 plus questions. So you don't need anything beyond this. All right. बहुत ही लाइक सिस्टमैटिक वे में एंड वाइड एंड लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ वैरायटी ऑफ क्वेश्चंस यू कैन गेट इन दिस पूल। So a very good source to like keep regular practice of any concept that you are studying. So that is it from my end for this session. Thank you all for joining. It was a very short session. I hope all of you understood the concept. We'll elaborate on this, taking more questions in the upcoming sessions. But hope all of you got some insights on what direct variation is and what inverse variation is. We'll need to solve more questions to get like an idea of how it is getting applied, because application समझने के लिए takes time and practice. But I hope you understood at least the concept direct inverse variation का कैसा है। तो coming sessions में we'll take up more and more questions on this. Till then, keep solving, keep studying. Have a nice day everyone. Bye bye.